As from v6.11, upon the first installation of the software, users will now be prompted by a dialog window to import from another version. This will allow to quickly copy user-created files and directories such as OP-lists, configurations, machine files, etc. from the previous version. So let's view this. The software installation has just been completed here. Let's run it. And as you see, for the first launch, we're prompted by this window. First thing we notice is that we can choose the version from which we want to import our files. The versions available will be as from v6.10 and onwards. For example, in v6.12, we will be able to import directly from v6.10 to v6.12 or v6.11 to v6.12. Next, we have two checkboxes. One, for the import of configurations, for instance, themes, custom menus, toolbars, etc. These are the files typically in the ini folder. The other is for the import of files. Here you can select or deselect all, or you can also manually choose which files to import or not. Observe that the list of directories here closely resembles that of the addressing window in software configuration. Also, the file locations are exactly as that of the current settings of the selected version, in this case v6.10. And note that there is also a new folder, e-learning database, which has been user-defined. So let's validate this, and the version should open in the same addressing configuration as that of v6.10. If we go in the installation directory, we will see that the folder e-learning database has been copied identically with its subfolders and respective files, except for the GoToTool folder. The reason being, this folder is typically managed by the software itself and not the user. The location saved in v6.10 was to point to the e-learning folder for GoToTool. If we load the software configurations for v6.11, we notice addressing is in red. This is an indicator that there is an issue in at least one of the paths. If we scroll a bit, we notice that the location for GoToTool is in red, since it is deemed as an incorrect directory for the software. The other user-defined paths in green are correctly recognized. If we load the ini file for e-learning with the addressing issue, we won't be able to validate the setting. So let's manually change the path here. And now we can validate. We are prompted by the import from another version window only on the first launch of the software. If we want to access the window again, we can do so by going to Tools, and we find the command here. The last thing to point out for the import of files is if the addressing points to a file or folder that is outside of the installation directory. For instance, for library materials, let's change its addressing in v610. Here, we change it to a directory outside the installation one. Choose this, validate. We notice that the library of materials is actually no longer in the list. So it's important to understand that this command is able to recover files only within the installation directory. All other locations will have to be defined again manually.